This is Lee Ridley. I was lucky enough to achieve 2 promotions with Scunthorpe United, but nothing compares to the joy I experience when listening to the Iron Hour podcast. Just a heads up, this podcast contains strong language. You know the good stuff. If this isn't for you, turn off now. For the rest of you, now fucking enjoy the podcast.
Right, fans, thanks for joining us once again for another episode of the Iron Hour podcast. Now, this is a very special episode. Well, we hope so anyway. This is our anniversary. So we have just celebrated 1 year of the Iron Hour. So a big thank you to all of our listeners. If you didn't hear that, that was Max giving it the old fangirl in the background there. So yeah, so a big thank you to all of our listeners, our sponsors along the journey, anybody who supported us, and of course, those people behind the scenes, you know, those people at the club, the fans, whoever it is that have made this possible. So honestly, from all of us here, just like a massive thank you for keeping us going, because the feedback we get, not always the best. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But the interaction and the feedback we get is what keeps us going. So a big thank you to that. And then the last thing I want to say on that is, again, you know, if we ever do have like a week off, couple of weeks off, it's so nice, honestly, when you guys come up to us at games and say, oh, you know, we missed your episode this week, we should do one. So, you know, thank you for keeping us going, because sometimes the motivation with other family commitments, other stuff, it wanes a bit. So thank you for keeping us going. I do appreciate that. Right, that's it from me. That's my little intro. I'm your host, as always, Barra. I'm joined by two of my usual panel. I've got matching t-shirts, Mr. Marco Paliga. How you doing, Marco?
I'm good. Can I say, for that intro, for the 1 year celebrations, it has not aged you one bit. You look as good as the first day when that flag dropped in the pub.
Yeah, can we just talk about that? So that first episode, you know, just over a year ago, we sounded like we were recording with 2 cups and a piece of string. We had flags falling all over. We didn't know what we were doing. We probably still don't know what we're doing, but
that's it.
I think the journey's been class.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were saying, it's so nice hearing all the feedback. I mean, the views and listens are crazy, so that just makes it all worthwhile. So yeah, I didn't think we'd see a year at some point, but here we are.
Well, I didn't think we'd have a club, let alone a podcast.
Yeah, we could have still done another podcast. What's in it? It's been the Tate brothers. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's just football.
Marco, of all the podcasts in the world that you could have chosen, why have you picked 2 lads who, correct me if I'm mistaken, are up on sex trafficking charges in Romania? Why? You could have picked anything.
Yeah, I don't like Romania.
Jeez. Oh my God, what an anniversary this is. We're like,
yeah, it took a turn.
It's taking a turn early doors.
Gareth isn't here. You 2 have turned up in the same t-shirt. It's like going to a party and a couple of birds have gone, oh no, they've got the same dress on, and it's all gone to pot.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because Marco and I did actually turn up to a party once in the same dress. So
yes,
it does happen.
You're going to be in the OK magazine next week saying who wore it better, and you know it's going to be me.
It's you, mate. Yeah, you've got those Italian continental vibes.
It's the locks.
I'm just the boy next door, you know. So
I think it's the Stella. For anybody who saw Marco there, he's gone for the premium wife beater lager, and he's thought
cold.
And how many as well? 2, doubling up.
Yeah, it's just a warm up.
Just a warm up. Right, I'll introduce you, our published author, our resident bad boy. I think over the course of these past 12 months, you've been in prison about 12 times, according to what I've seen on Twitter. It's Mr. Max Bell.
Also available for gripes about your bins, potholes,
road signs.
Yes, road signs. I do love a good road sign, and obscure views on Taylor Swift.
I tell you what, that is some chat up line, isn't it?
Honestly, my Bumble, it's elite.
I recognise those as words. They are words. Right, guys, should we talk football or?
1 minute, I'm just trying to find Max to swipe right on Bumble.
What does this mean, swipe right? I don't know what this means.
Come off it. Is cat in the background and you're playing golf?
My hostages are treating me very well.
Yes, especially with that white background you've got there. Yes.
My captors are treating me very well. Right, football. I mean, oh, I'll tell you what, guys, you're cheering me up already. I just hope you press record, Max. Because...
That'd be quite
Right.
fair. On our year anniversary, we don't even record the pod.
No. Right, so football. 2 games to review before we look ahead to this weekend's fixtures. We'll kick off with a 5-0 away win at Bishop Stortford. Marco, talk to me about that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody before the game realistically knows it's a game we should be winning comfortably. But there is always that but with Scunthorpe, and it would have been very us to concede a 1-0 last minute winner or something. But I think the extremely early goal will have helped. And as soon as that went in, you knew it was going to be a comfortable result. Which the thing is, it's not always as easy as it seems going to these teams. The pitch was a massive leveller. So from what I heard on Humberside, it was very direct. Which is good because I know there's been a lot of questions about Jimmy sort of adapting, and I know we've changed formations in game and stuff, but to show that when we do need to, we can sort of go, don't like saying it, but route one and playing it a little bit ugly. It's good to see that we can do that as well. But I do feel for Bishop Stratford a massive shout out because they've been done massively dirty with sort of league placing, and I know it's been hard for them to get players to actually stay but want to travel that distance. So massive shout out to them. Looks like we're going to go. I think we are relegated, aren't we? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
So fair enough. Hopefully we can have a good run at it next year because it's been a really tough year for them. But we needed to get them dispatched, and we did so comfortably. So we're good to see.
Well, Bishop Stortford, a team that quite honestly did not want to be in the division, as you just touched on there, Marco. And one thing you talked about the early goal, but not just the one early goal, Max. There was 3, wasn't there? An early hattrick there for Danny Whitehall.
Yeah, and I think it was a massive relief for all Iron fans. Really, good to see Whitehall on the scoreboard. I think Marco is right. Actually, sometimes when teams set up with a bank of 4 and a bank of 5 and say, right, break us down, that's sometimes when we have struggled. So, it was really good to see a reaction after Darlington, which was incredibly disappointing. To go away from home and pick up any win, even though I believe on record we've got the 3rd best away form in the division. There have been times this season where it hasn't felt like that. So you can only beat what's put in front of you. Like Marco said, I've got a lot of sympathy with Bishop Stortford. They've been dealt a tough hand. So just take the 3 points, dust yourself down, and then, you hope that gives you a bit of momentum for Banbury, which I suspect we'll discuss very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, you've just reminded me, actually, we've probably not done a podcast since the Darlington game, I don't think. So it's probably worth just briefly mentioning that. Obviously, that was a pretty much a low point really for us this season. I mean, we've had a lot of issues obviously off the field. Oh, I'm in the darkness. We've had a lot of issues off field, and of course, some performances, although there's not been that many, but some performances have been not fantastic this season. But Marco, I think that Darlington game away really was a low point, wasn't it?
Oh my God. It's lucky it's an overrating podcast because it was shit. I'll be nice. It was terrible. And I mean, that is being so nice to see us. Like you've just mentioned, we nearly didn't have a club, and there's a lot of bad things that happened this year. But that performance just went against everything that we have worked so hard for this season. There were no desire, no bite, no heart. And I mean, it got to a point where I was saying, like, honestly, if Ovies wanted to put Scunthorpe tops on and we'll sign these and they can have our lot, I would have. If you'd have offered me at half time, I'd have seriously considered it. They just looked so much more up for that game, and it wasn't necessarily a quality thing. It was genuinely just passion and desire, and we really, really let the fans down. And, well, the thing is, we bounced back from a result the next week, obviously at Bishop Stratford, which made it an even bigger game. Stratford. Anyway, but, yeah, it was huge to get that win there because they owed themselves that and the club that after Darlington. Because I've watched Scunthorpe a lot and I've seen some bad performances, but that's right up there. I was shell shocked.
Absolutely. Just let's just loop back into the Bishop Stortford game there, as it's correctly pronounced. So obviously we have got the hat trick, which we've talked about, but it was great to see Flynn. I'm at it now, buddy. It was great to see Flynn Clark.
Karma. We're not editing that bit out. Karma is a beautiful thing sometimes. There.
I mean, it normally doesn't happen so quickly, though, does it? That was instantly served. Yeah, I mean, hey, good son. And we're back, baby. Yeah, so it was great to see Flynn Clark get on the score sheet, Max, and what a goal it was as well.
Yeah, very nice finish. And again, you know, it was. Don't get me wrong, it was good. It was good that it came against Bishop Stortford, but you know, we've seen games this season. I think of Brackley at home, for example, where you know a side's playing well. You know, those moments of quality can be really important against a low block, bank of 4, bank of 5, to unlock sides when you're struggling to really get in behind them. Very nice finish, good technique. Nothing really the keeper could have done. So yeah, if Flynn fancies doing that a few more times between now and the end of the season, I'd be very, very grateful.
And Marco, do you think the fifth goal was a goal? Do you think the ball crossed the line?
It's questionable, isn't it? But I mean, it's just annoying that we don't seem to be getting that luck in the 0-0 games of a close edge games. It's when we're 4-0 up and cruising against Bishop Stortford. But yeah, I mean, it's the old cliche, isn't it? It sort of evens itself out over a season. It's funny to say that because I think this season we're due a lot of good luck, if that's the case, because I think we've been dealt a really crap hands regarding officiating. But I won't go too far into that. But not for me. But this is it. This is the level we're at now, and yeah, it happened.
Yeah, do you know what? When people say that, it levels itself out over a season.
I don't think it does.
No, like sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. Like 46 games still isn't enough. Like it's not 1,000 games, is it? Like,
no,
you can have an incredibly fortunate season or an incredibly unfortunate season.
And I think sometimes, I think very rarely does it make a difference. You know, how many points are we behind Tamworth? I'm not necessarily sure. I would really lay that to the front of officiating. But, you know, if it's a difference between finishing second and third, I think of when we, at home, the Tranmere last day of 08-09, you get a couple of rum refereeing decisions in other games that season, and that's totally out of your control. You know, if you're down at the bottom fighting relegation, it can make a big difference. And you know, heaven forbid. Well, even if during the season you get 4 or 5 decisions that you think, oh, that maybe went our way there. If you get one bad one in a playoff game, that ends your season on its own. Done. So, you know, I just hope we're not talking about referees in 6-7 weeks' time.
No, there's a couple of things just to touch on there. I mean, the first one would be that, you know, when you talk about the advantage of finishing second over third or even lower, but I think maybe Football League fans or maybe Scunthorpe fans who haven't really looked at what the playoffs mean at this level, it's worth saying again, as we have done on previous podcasts, the advantage of finishing second or third is so much more than it is in like the league playoffs, because obviously in the EFL playoffs, the semi-finals over 2 legs and the final is at a neutral venue, i.e. Wembley. But in the non-league, it's completely different. If you are second or third, you're straight through to the semi-final and you're guaranteed a home tie in the semi-final, one off.
Playing a game less.
Yeah, playing a game less. And the lowest ranked team remaining in the final 2, i.e. for the final, gets the home tie. So again, if you finish second, you're guaranteed 2 home ties, the semi-final and the final, should you get there. And if you finish third, you're guaranteed at least 1 home tie in the semi and possibly the final, as long as second don't get there. I know there's a lot of stuff to go through there, but the upshot is, in non-league playoffs, the advantage of finishing as high as you can is massive. And as we've seen this season, I think you've said it on previous episodes, Max, you'd fancy us against almost anyone at home. Away, it's a different story.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, you know, that notwithstanding, I know, was it 1 win in 13 now for us in crowds of over 5,000 or more? But you want the cash through the door with the club's off-field stuff. And, it can be the kind of game that we look back on in 5, 10, 15 years' time. If you beat any side in the semi-final and the final of the playoffs, that's when you go, we're back. But yeah, we've got to get there first.
We're gonna have to cap ticket sales at that. The attendance going to be 4,999.
all the stewards come out. Right, that's it. Nobody else is allowed in. That's it. Go away.
Do you want to go up? Do you want to get promoted?
Watch it from home. Watch it on a dodgy box.
Just shovel everyone in Iron Bar.
Mate, I'm open to anything.
So that was the Bishop Stortford game. Obviously, we played on Saturday, just gone at home against Banbury. Now, I didn't make this game. I had a boxing event, but I was following it as it was coming through, and 2-0. Having not been there, I was a little bit deflated almost at full time. I thought, wasn't really the statement that I'd hoped for post, even post Darlington. And then having spoke to you guys, Marco, you basically told me straight away it could have and should have been 7-8-0.
Yeah, I don't think you were alone thinking that. I think anyone who wasn't in the ground has every right to think that. It's a bit underwhelming, but it sort of doesn't reflect the performance. There was never at one point where you felt they were going to score. The first half, I agree with Jimmy, who said on Humberside after, could have and should have been 4-5-0 at half time. I thought we were really complete. One of the most comfortable performances of the season, I think, which is a massive statement considering what we've steamrolled teams. But yeah, I think it was quite promising. And I think we've maybe sort of came to the idea now where it is going to be playoffs. And now is more of a case of performances rather than shipping 4 or 5 goals past teams. And I left Granford Park Saturday really positive. I know it was only 2, and we all want to see 3 or 4, but no, I thought the performance were there. Again, fair play to Banbury. It's tough for them at this level. But no, I thought we played really well. Looked really sharp.
And Max, obviously, yes, obviously we went down to 10 men, and the second goal came quite late on. Was there a moment at all in the game where you thought, listen, at 1-0, at 10 men, this is looking dicey, we need to get this over the line?
So not based on what was happening on the pitch. I think you're only human when you see that red card. You think, for fuck's sake, we've been there before in plenty of games this season. I think of Chorley away. I think of Alfreton away. I think actually, even though it arguably changed the game for the positive, Chester at home, red cards change games. But I agree with Marco. We didn't sat back. We kept pushing. I mean, Beaston hit the post twice. Beaston hit the bar twice. We hit the post once as well. I thought the Banbury keeper had a good game. Even though it was 2-0, I actually thought Banbury defended all right. They made 3 or 4 good blocks, particularly in the first half when we were attacking the Donny Road end. I agree with Marco. What was it? 78 Banbury fans, I think. They looked like they were having an absolute riot. I think I've ever seen 78 people. I mean, there was about 12 smoke bombs. They were having a conga at one point. They were dancing anytime Scunthorpe scored. When they put half a dozen passes together, it was Olays. I think of the really rough away games in Scunthorpe when we've perhaps, been relegated or been punching above our weight. And I've been in away ends like that. So honestly, fair fudge to them. But it was just glad to get the win. 2 back-to-back wins, 6 points. A good response from Darlington.
Now, fair fudge to them indeed. I guess the other thing, Marco, is, our 2 strikers now have scored 6 goals in 2 games. It's good signs as we head towards this final push towards the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. And although obviously he got a goal on Saturday, I thought his performance on Saturday was one of his best all season. Hat-trick or not, his hold-up play, his link-up play, it was the Whitehall that we should have. I thought it's the Whitehall I thought we were getting. It was really good to see him. I tell you what, as well, he made Beaston look a lot better on the wing. I thought he brought Beaston into the game a lot, and obviously we're talking about Whitehall, but Elliott coming on and scoring 2. He's knocking on the door, so Whitehall knows he's 1 bad performance away off being dropped for Elliott. I mean, we know that point won't happen, but in theory, that's what should be happening. It's competition for places. if they're both scoring and we've got that option, all it takes is Whitehall to get a knock, or we know he's got that little bit of shithouse in him, he might get caught. It's good to know that we've got that option on the bench. I mean, not many. A team in National League North to have a striker as reliable as Danny Elliott on the bench is crazy. Let's remember that.
Even that was exactly what the Chester manager said after our game against them.
Oh, did it?
And, I was literally exactly almost word for word what he said. Look, we're fortunate in that front, so we have to make it count.
Yeah, huge. It's huge. So the fact we're both scoring at the right time of the season, this is where we need them both on the game. It was good to see them both laughing and joking after when we were clapping the fans off after the game too. So yeah, striker scoring, it's a good thing. You can't dress it up anything else.
Marco just briefly mentioned there something of which would be nice if we can do a bit of a deeper dive on. You know, a bit of a conundrum having Alfie Beaston on the wing. We've experimented with a few players out wide this season. I mean, Beaston is the one that no fan has really kind of figured out yet. We've had him for many a season, and we still don't know what his full potential is and where his best position is. What's your view on the likes of Alfie Beaston?
So I've not really spoken to any supporter who thinks his best position is in central midfield. I know Dean likes him on the left. I think particularly for his defensive work rate, because that can be a trade-off if you're playing Danny Elliott in particular. Fullbacks has been a bit of a difficult area for us. It's pretty well known. I'm sometimes not Tyler Denton's biggest fan.
Yeah, that is wild to me.
But I do have sympathy with fullbacks generally when sides play quite attacking 4-3-3s and they don't get a lot of cover in front of them and it's 2-on-1 situations. So, look, we'll see. I think Beaston's a central midfielder. I think his best performances, most of them this season, have come in central midfield. I think of Chester, for example. But, I do trust him. And sometimes you have to try and fit square pegs into round holes, depending on who you're playing, who you've got out injured, particularly when we've had like Whitehall suspended, for example, or Callum Roberts is injured. But that'll be a really interesting one for me, is hopefully if and when, hopefully soon, Roberts is back fit, you've suddenly got an extra real quality area in wide areas.
We've got four. With the new signing, with him being on the bench for the day, and Flynn obviously seems to have hit match fitness now. You're talking with Sembi. Jimmy Dean seems to think Beaston's a winger, which is what Max has just said. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but he played very well on Saturday. You've got Flynn, and you've got, is it Burnett?
What on earth are you talking about?
Is Richie Bennett back and we're playing him on the left wing?
Matt, what are you talking about? You're about Kai Corbett or... He's frozen now. So what's happened there is Marco is he's frozen still because he doesn't want to be embarrassed. I don't know who he's talking about or what's happened to him.
I have taken a screenshot of how perplexed he looks. You're right, Barry. He's confused him for Kai Corbett, the new signing. So should we keep chatting?
Yeah, I mean, just while we try and get Marco back on, this is a fantastic anniversary episode, isn't it? What I would say to you, well, I was actually going to go to Marco in defence of Tyler Denton there, but seems so you dug him out. I think I'll just put a case in defence. But I think for me, when it comes to the end of the season and we're looking at players of the season, I'm not saying I necessarily will go for Tyler Denton, but he's on my shortlist. He's certainly in my top 3 or 4 that I'm thinking probably vote for as a fans player of the season. I mean, I don't know about you, Max, but for me, at the moment, I'm thinking Denton, Boyce, probably Whitehall would be the other one. They're my kind of 3. Fitzsimmons, of course.
It's a proper politician's answer, but honestly, ask me at the end of the season.
Yeah,
I think Fitzsimmons had been locked on for getting my vote for quite a long time. Keepers Union, all that jazz. He maybe had a little bit of a wobble the last couple of months, but he'd be up there. Whitehall would be up there again. I thought for the first sort of 5-6 months of the season, Ogle had been really good, but the last sort of 2 to 3 months has maybe not met his usual high standards. But if somebody between now and the end of the season has a really strong 4, 5, 6 games, then that's right. They're going to put them right in contention.
We were just saying, Marco, who our shortlist would be for player of the season. I was saying mine's probably, Boyce, Denton, Whitehall, and Fitzsimmons. To kind of probably be picking one from them. Obviously, there's still quite a few games to go. So as Max said, maybe let the season run. But who's kind of catching your eye at the moment for potential players of the season?
Yeah, not really. It's sort of the opposite. He's not catching my eye, but I feel like he's doing a massive job, and that's Scales.
Yeah,
I feel like his work rate and energy, it's been great. I think Max put a curse on Denton when we was on about our player of the season last time, because since then, I know he's just mentioned about Ogle, but I think Denton also his performances have really dropped. So yeah, he was a shoo-in for me at the start, but then obviously when we've started sort of dipping a bit, so has he. And also, everyone knows I've got a soft spot for Pugh, and like Max said, if he keeps going like he has done for the last 6 or 7 games, then yeah, he's my player of the season always. I think he's been, honestly, special shout out for Tom Pugh. I think he's been fantastic since he's been back.
Does he buy pizzas from you? Your pizza?
He's not player of the season. I'll say that's maybe a little bit high, but no, he has. I think he's came back in at a really important time, and I think he's one of the first names on the team sheet after his recent performances.
Yeah, fair point. Let's look ahead to this weekend's game then. We're away at Warrington. Max, what's your thoughts going into that game? Warrington currently sitting in 11th place.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Definitely going, making the trip across of it in the car with my old man.
Daddy Bell.
Indeed, it'll be an interesting game. I think part of the reason why we were all very disappointed that Spennymoor got cut off was postponed. Okay, look, we beat Bishop Stortford, but let's have a side in the middle of the table, away from home, kind of game we want to be picking up 3 points by hook or by crook. And I would say that Warrington fits into that bill. I thought they were all right when they came to the Attis Arena, but we got the 3 points, we got over the line. And that's what I'm hoping for on Saturday, that they keep the positive momentum going from the last couple of games.
Marco, fantastic to see that we've sold out our away allocation again. We've done that multiple times this season. The support for the boys has been unreal, hasn't it?
Oh, crazy. I think it got put on earlier, but they've been put back on sale now. So if anybody didn't manage to get a ticket, you still can. You can go for it.
Has that definitely been confirmed, Marco?
Where have you heard that?
I saw that on Twitter. They've been put back on sale.
Who? What?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I think we might have to correct you. Where are you pulling this from, bud?
So Scunny have put up more than once that they had asked and were waiting for news from Warrington. I have got Twitter up in front of me, and I see fuck all about them being back on sale.
You've got a track record for doing this.
No, if I'm wrong, I do apologise, but I am sure that tickets had came on recently. No, I'm sure. I was speaking to Phil today, Phil Pinder, and he said he'd seen have gone back on sale. So I'm gonna.
Right, I think what's happened there, mate, is that I think there's been a bit of confusion, and this is great that we can get this. Yeah, no. So what's happened there is, unfortunately, Drop Short has gone online. Tried to buy a ticket, was successful this afternoon in buying a ticket, and wrongly thought that they'd gone back on sale.
That's where I've seen them drop short.
But actually, what had happened is he'd managed to catch it in that brief window where someone had returned a ticket.
Right. Okay.
So they returned the ticket.
They're still sold out on the Warrington website.
So this is what I'm saying. So
Barra is exactly right. I've seen that and thought, well, I'm not going anywhere. I can't make it this weekend. But yeah, coming back to fans who. Definitely don't.
Sorry, can I just say? This is fantastic. I mean, this is podcast.
But yeah, so I've stressed that I'm probably the biggest advocate of saying how great our fans have been all season, all throughout the season, everything that's gone on. And I am a little bit scared about Saturday. A team with nothing really to play for. It doesn't look like they'll maybe push for playoffs. They're safe. They're the sort of games where I think it's going to be trickier than we think. But like Max said, by hook or by crook, 3 points there would be fantastic. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully, come 5:30 Saturday, we're all happy and 3 points for better.
Obviously, we'll catch up next week, hopefully before the Easter fixtures. But in case we don't, we've also now got the added bonus of the Spennymoor fixture, which has been shoehorned in there on Tuesday, Max.
Yeah, I'm sick of postponements in the North East. Found out from the steward, stood 2 yards from the turnstile at Spennymoor. I was lucky to an extent that A, I can make the rearranged fixture, so I'm heading up in the car, and B, hadn't already bought my match ticket. I mean, even one of the stewards said to us that it hadn't rained in Spennymoor that day. The home fans, their sort of singing section was already in behind the goal. They were very angry with the decision. A few of us went to Spennymoor Spoons. There was probably about a dozen Scuddy fans in there, drowning our sorrows. I think that's now 4 postponements we've had up in the North East now this season. 2 at Blythe, 1 at Darlington, 1 at Spennymoor. Let's hope there's no more, particularly as, we all know what happened with Darlington, and I think we'd have beat them if the game hadn't been called off the first time. So, if we get the 3 points, it'll be worth it. But I could see Spennymoor being quite a tough fixture, to be honest.
Yeah, and Mark, obviously, they're in a similar league position actually to Warrington. They currently sit 12th in the league. Again, it's an away game. A couple of hours there. What's your kind of thoughts going into these next 2 fixtures? What's your expectation?
Selfish point of view, quite happy because I think I can go now. But yeah, like Max said, the North East and games getting cut off seem to go hand in hand at the minute, and especially with the rain at the minute, I'd take it with a pinch of salt, but it will go ahead. So, but yeah, hopefully it is on. And again, no games at this level, barring no disrespect to your Stortfords or your Banburys and stuff, they're not easy. And I know Gareth's he's massive on saying we are People's Cup finals, and I think we still are. And I think a lot of teams will want to knock us off that perch and take that second spot from us. So it's massive that we're on it. Like Max says, Spennymoor will be tough. I think that'll be the harder of the 2. So to go into the Easter, if we go into the Easter weekend with 6 points under our belt, I'd be very, very happy.
Nice. So we'll move on to the next segment then. So we've got some questions from the fans. So I'll kick off with Damo's question. And I'll go to you first, Max. He says, deadline day is a week from today. Do you think we need to strengthen the squad anywhere? And if so, which positions and possible players?
It's a very good question from Damo, that, and I'm not just saying that because I want his vote. I think we have already strengthened in terms of dipping into low markets or free agents in the case of McAlendon, probably more than I was expecting. The one area of concern I would possibly have is maybe centre half. At time of recording, we haven't heard anything about Will Evans's red card having been appealed unsuccessfully or otherwise. I haven't seen anything from Scully on social media channels. So, we are only 1 injury, 1 poor refereeing decision away from being really short in that area. So if a good option becomes available and it's financially viable, which is a big if for Scunthorpe over the last sort of couple of seasons, that's maybe the one area I'd be interested in. But other than that, I wouldn't expect loads of business.
No, seems fair. Have you got anything to add there, Marco?
No, I agree. Like you said, centre halves are only sort of place where we're a bit short. I think we will if we have appealed. I think it's Saturday we find out. So I won't be surprised if it's right before the game. I think the meeting's on Fridays, so it'll be late on. But looking at the footage, I think surely we appeal it.
So if like Max or Gareth had said that, I'd have taken that as gospel. But I mean, with you I don't believe a word you say. Where have you pulled that from?
You say that like you didn't know exactly what I was on about. I've been duped, and I just saw that tweet and then I ran with it.
So where have you pulled this from? That the meetings on Friday was.
The league meetings on Friday. So same as last time when we appealed. We found out that Whitehall didn't get rescinded and theirs did. It was literally right before the game, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's late on.
Okay, good info. I mean, you are a man with your Your nose to the ground.
It's took my head to get around this season a lot. Like, for starters, when a player was getting sent off and then he were playing on Tuesday, I'm like, what the fuck? So,
It's a glitch.
A funny story about that. I'll be really quick because obviously we're on questions. But I went to watch my local team, Selby Town, on Tuesday. And I've not been for a few months. I used to go quite regularly. If Scunthorpe were away or whatever, and I couldn't get there because I'd finished work. But obviously now I can go a lot more. And I was saying to another fan, I said, "Oh, who's this new guy at the back? He's very good. He must be 6'3". Looked really good, but very physical and a bit of a nasty bastard." I went, "Looks a bit of a player." Yeah, he's called Dando. And I said, "Oh, right, how long's he been here then?" Because I genuinely didn't know. "Oh, he's a new signing. He only signed last week. He's played last week." I went, "All right, nice." Well, he said, "Yeah, he's allowed to play tonight because he got sent off on Saturday." I went, "Well, when did he sign?" I went, "Oh, he signed on Saturday." I went, "All right, so he can play tonight." Went, yeah. I said, "What did he get sent off for?" I went, "Oh, I bit someone." I went, "Right, okay."
So he gets better backs.
Yeah, I love him already. So massive shout out to Selby Town. And where was it? Nostell Miners.
He nearly got sent off again, didn't he, on Tuesday?
Oh, absolute hothead. But that's what I love. So that's why we love Lower League football. So very Max-esque. But yeah.
I have never bit anyone. Let's make that clear.
Jesus. And I tell you what, that's the intro. Stick that on the trailer, lads. I have never bit anyone, Your Honour. But anyway,
that's gonna go on my leaflets.
Yeah. Good grief. Okay, so the next question comes from our namesake, Mr. Nick Bell. And he says, if we manage to make the playoffs and get promoted, should the board offer Jimmy Dean a new contract, or should we start the National League with a new manager, Max?
I think if we get promoted, Dean has earned the right to a new contract.
Yeah.
You could make it a 12-month one or a rolling one where you've got 12 months on at any time. Look, the back end of last season was difficult, but I wouldn't really place that on him given the massive upheaval we had. The fact that our goose was basically cooked by Christmas and certainly January before Peter Swan sold the club. This season off the field has been very difficult. We looking like we are still theoretically going to finish second or third at the worst, touch wood. And obviously you evaluate things at the end of the season. I know there were calls to sack Dean after Darlington. I was pleased that those were not listened to, even if it makes me unpopular with a minority of very vocal people on Twitter. I don't really care. And actually, that's a really good thing from Saturday, is that I spoke to plenty of people in and around the iBar on the Donny Road end who wanted Dean to stay and make a bit of a fist of it. I think fans talk about there not being loyalty in football anymore, from players, from staff, sometimes from managers if they get a bigger deal and come in. It's a matter of public record that Dean held the ship together when it really could have run aground, when there were crises, when he and certain other people wouldn't get paid for multiple months. Loyalty is a two-way street, and I think we owe him that. And I would love nothing more than for him to, prove what again is a small but vocal minority of people wrong.
Okay, next one, Marco, comes from Christian Ashton, and he says, if the league positions were to finish how they are now, who would you want to face in the playoff semi-final? And do you honestly think we'll win the playoffs? So I'll just give you the other 5 teams that are in and around, that are in the playoff spots right now, Marco. So they've got in order Chorley, Brackley, Alfreton, Chester, and Boston. So of those teams, is there any team you've seen this season that you think, yeah, do you know what? I think we'd be okay if we pull them, especially at home.
Barron Alfred, we came unstuck against all of them.
Yeah.
I think out of the 3.
Well, Chorley, we've done all right at Chorley, haven't we? We drew away and got a good win at home. I think was it 3-0?
It was tough away.
Yeah, it was a tough game.
Yeah, and look, they seem to be coming into the end of the season being the form team, and I think that has a massive impact in playoffs. Who's coming in form, which is why we need to keep going as we are. Look, Chester went to Tamworth last week, got a draw. I know we beat them first game of the season, but again, that wasn't too convincing. gonna be tough. It's the playoffs. What do you call it? Charlie, Chester, or Boston? Boston played very well that second half. But again, like Max says, you fancy us against anyone at Glanford Park, and if we didn't have that sort of mentality, I'd be very concerned. But look, like Max says, it's a dodgy decision. It's anything. It's the
playoffs, mate. About 20 minutes and your season's tanked.
Exactly, and it could be against anyone. So no, give me anyone in the playoffs because you've got to find them at some point, and whether that's Chester or whether that's Charlie, bring it on.
I've got to be honest, for me, the only team I'm concerned about in the playoffs is Chester. I just think, I could see them doing a job on us. That when we played away at Chester, I honestly saw a team that I thought, I mean, at that point, I think they were like 17th in the league. And I remember coming away saying, if they're not in and amongst it at the end of the season, I'll be very surprised. Yeah, so I think for me, they're the one team that I'm a little bit concerned about.
If it's Chester, I think we can take sort of something from the other week where going down to 10 and then scoring, it just shows we can do it. So we've got that sort of momentum in that sense, and it just shows that we can. So, but yeah, like you said, Chester are a very good outfit. Like I said, not many teams go to Tamworth to get a point.
No.
So but like I said, it's a good question from Christian. Is
that Gareth?
I'm going to say I'm Gareth on Zoom again. But yeah, no, the playoffs is going to be tough no matter who you play because it's the whole season's come to that game. So yeah.
Mac's next question comes from Iron Magic, and he says, "Is discipline an issue at the moment? We can't seem to go a game without getting a red card."
Up to a point, we have had too many red cards this season, particularly for a side up at the top of the table. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I've got a little bit of sympathy with Dean on that and the coaching staff generally on that front because if you're if you're a player, you're reacting in that run moment, and that is exactly the kind of individual mistake that can kill you in a playoff game. Particularly in the one-legged structure, it can make all the difference. So, look, that's got to stop. I don't think, almost during the game, I almost don't think we've been too bad. Like, I don't really see us giving away cheap fouls and, real leg breaker tackles. It's the stupid, silly shit. It's Whitehall at Farsley. It's Evans' appeal, notwithstanding, against Banbury on Saturday. It's Evans again away at Chorley, got involved with their striker straight away after we'd just been booked. That stuff's got to stop because it can cost you.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, so the next question then actually comes from our old pal Rick Watworth over down under, and Rick says that he's just finished watching the Socceroos win another World Cup qualifier 2-0. Early tip, Scunny to repeat the performance on Saturday. And his question is, what are your thoughts on the recently offered share issue? And congratulations on the 12-month anniversary. Thank you for that, Rick. So I actually spoke to somebody at the club today regarding this when this question popped up. And we got a little bit of an update from someone at the club. And they've actually said to us that at the moment, the club have kind of taken a bit of a back seat on the shares just while they assess the tax and financial implications. So I don't think it's been stopped altogether, but it's certainly been paused from what I understand, having spoken to someone quite senior at the club today, who again has just highlighted the fact that they just need to go back and have a little look again, once again, at the possible tax implications. So I thought it was quite interesting. And then obviously, although it wasn't asked there by Rick, but in conversation did come up, about the 1899 club. And again, they just mentioned that they're working through the issues with those affected fans, and I think they're working to or are very close to a resolution with at least 90% of those fans. So it certainly sounds like the cleanup operation post the previous ownerships is well underway. And I mean, we've just got to give the club time, haven't we, to get these things sorted, Max?
Yeah, I agree. And particularly on the share issue stuff, I really hope they can get sorted. I own 5 shares, which was given them to me by my dad for my 18th birthday, I think, and I've had great value out of them in terms of feeling a part of the club, being able to attend shareholder meetings at AGMs, particularly under the ownership of Peter Swan. And I would definitely recommend it for people, particularly if you go to games with family members. It's an important way of showing support. And I know sometimes the financial benefits for the clubs aren't always humongous, but I'm a big believer in marginal gains. Every penny helps. So if that scheme can get back up off the ground, I would definitely urge Iron supporters to, if they're able to, if they can financially afford it, definitely try and buy shares if you can.
So once again, the update from the club at this moment in time was they're just taking a step back, having a look at the current state of play, and then we'll probably produce an update at some point. Right, let's move on then, guys, to it's my favourite segment, I've got to be honest, the hero, idiot, and moment of the week. And I think 12 months on, I think I finally said it in the correct order. Hero, idiot, and moment of the week. It's only taken me 50 plus episodes, but I think I've nailed it, Marco.
Good by me. I tell you what, some episode count that.
I don't know how many listens we've had. I think you did the maths, didn't you, a while back, but it's insane.
I can't.
No, Carol Vorderman, are you? Right, kick us off then, boys. Max, who's your hero of the week?
It's a football one. Although my football one I will get to in a second. But before I go into it, I want to give it a very quick honourable mention to he came second as my hero of the week, and that is Rishi Sunak. Yeah, I know, shocked faces. Who recently ruled out a general election on May the 2nd, which would have been between the playoff semi-final and the playoff final. And I do not need that level of stress in my life in the same week. So
I did actually hear that he listens to this podcast weekly, so I'm sure that'll get back to him.
He does claim to be a Southampton fan. So I'm grateful for that. Honourable mention to Big Rish. Well, my actual hero of the week is in international football, and that's everyone involved with Luxembourg. We're recording this on Thursday night when the first leg of the playoff semi-finals, or are they one-legged? I can't remember.
One leg.
Oh, they're one-legged. Okay, so it's just the semi-finals. And sadly, they have lost 2-0 to Georgia, so they're out. But the fact that a nation of that size has got that far, 180 minutes from a major international tournament is an absolutely amazing effort. I actually like some of the innovations that have happened to international football lately. I think the Nations League has been good. I think the playoff system's been good. Massive credit to Luxembourg. I think it's from being a joking Mike Bassett to being that close to getting to a major tournament is an amazing effort.
That little Wim Miedersreister.
Yeah,
yes.
Have you not seen what happened to Luxembourg?
Yeah, I know they had a man sent off. What's happened?
Oh, Max. I haven't got enough time to go into it.
It was wild, mate.
It is absolute bedlam. So they got an equaliser to make it 1-1 in the game. But previously, just before the equaliser, there was a penalty shout to Georgia.
Oh, no.
Luxembourg then got the equaliser, which was a great goal, which was literally a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes after. The scored, gone absolutely crazy, lined back up for kickoff, and the referees then gone to the screen and gave the penalty. Chalked the goal off, Georgia make it 2, game over.
That is crazy, isn't it? You've literally equalised 1-1, and a minute later it's 2-0.
And it's good mention, but to play devil's advocate, those in that VAR box have to get the right decision. And if they then sort of, we need to pull this back. And I know they are putting they're putting their balls on the line. But if all it takes to do it at that level in such an important game, which means so much to so many countries. But
so yeah, is that your hero of the week then? The VAR people in the Luxembourg?
No, my hero of the week. I also have a special mention. So I suppose we're giving 4 answers here, but a massive shout out because I don't think Rishi's going to win. But a special mention to the Banbury fans, like Max mentioned earlier. They were up for a really good day. I knew they were going to be great when I was walking into Glenford Park and we were giving them the rods from a bus on the way in. So I thought, yeah, they've just had a good day. And I mean, I didn't like them throwing the smoke bombs on the pitch. I never liked that. I like if you're going to do them, keep them in your hands. So, but I know it's a lot harder in an empty away end. But no, fair play for Saturday. They had a right good go. But my hero, and I forgot his name, but the Doncaster Road End drummer.
Oh, great shout.
I think he has been brilliant. The last few games, Saturday was an exception because I was very hungover and I could have shoved one of them sticks where he wouldn't have wanted it. But, or he might have done, I don't know. But, yeah, so, he is brilliant at what he does. And he to try and get an atmosphere going in the Donny Road End, which this season's been great. Yeah, fair play to him. And he does listen to the pod and he is on Twitter. So I apologise if I forgot your name, but you're my hero of the week.
Okay, let's give it to the Nameless Man then. The Nameless Drummer.
Man.
Tell you what a cracking album that would be. The Nameless Drummer.
It could be our first album.
Yeah, I like
Max,
that.
get the third shirt, and we're laughing.
Do you know what the album cover would be? It'd be that freeze frame of Marco from earlier, wouldn't it? Looking really confused and just.
Oh, is that when I froze?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the points, Marco. There you go. You won that. Yeah, I bet you do. Right, who's your idiot of the week, Marco?
So, mine's again. It's not just one. It's a group effort, and it's all the crap refs in this league. I'm so fed up of some. I know it's hard, and I am not in any. I'm not under any illusion that referees aren't under a really tough job at this level, but. That red card on Saturday. I mean, I know a lot of people have said like they want Scunthorpe to stay in this league. We're financially better to stay in this league, but the more I watch it, I'm thinking like, are we getting punked? Like the decisions that have gone against us this year. I don't remember a season like it, and I genuinely don't. It's been so poor. The best referee we've had this year, and I can't remember the game. But we won 3-0 quite comfortably. But it was the lady, and I think we haven't had enough.
Was it the Charlie game?
Was it Charlie at home? Possibly Charlie. She was probably the best referee we've had. And I mean, that was in sort of a game where there wasn't really any big decisions to make. But every single week, there just seems to be something, whether it's a disallowed goal or Will Evans trying to get back to his feet, which warrants a red card. It's just grinding me. So, yeah. Referees of this level, I hope there's nothing in it. I hope it's just coincidence. But the more I watch, the more I think there's a conspiracy.
So, Mr. Flat Earther, I've taken your points on board. Max, who's been your idiot of the week?
So just while we've been recording, I've been watching some of these clips on Twitter of the chaos that you described in the Germany-Luxembourg game, and it is mental. Which I genuinely didn't know about when I picked them as my hero of the week before the game. My idiot of the week is UEFA, because whilst they've done good stuff in international football, what's happened to the Champions League is absolutely psychotic. You see the news story earlier this week about how the draw for the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Conference League is now going to have to be made on a computer. Because if they were doing it manually, it'd take 4 hours, and they'd need 9 different sets of balls, and that's even without all the mindless chat.
Saturday night for Marco. That
they've got they've got a perfectly good product that they're now they're trying to strangle the goose that's laid the golden egg because they want more. They want more money. They want more games. Even when you've got managers left and right saying that they apparently can't play any more games, you're going to have a number of games in the competitions next season which are meaningless because you're going to be having some side play 16th, play 15th. And I just think it's a perfect example about how greed and short-term thinking doesn't benefit the game. I know it's not something they're going to be able to control because it's European-wide, but honestly, the sooner the government regulator for sport and football comes in, the better, because this is exactly the kind of nonsense that we need to avoid with a domestic game.
Yeah, I mean, Max, you obviously get the points there, mainly for your use of the word psychotic, which was delivered exceptionally well. So that levels it up 1-1 as we go into the moment of the week. Marco, hit me up with your moment of the week.
Keeping it football. Well, I say football. Very little football, but it's sort of football related. I'm sure you've all seen the absolute chaos in Turkey. We just gone. The Fenerbahce players seem to have a royal rumble with the opposing fans. Obviously celebrating in the middle of a pitch, which I genuinely thought, like from an outsider looking in, I don't follow Turkish football, couldn't even tell you who won the league. I thought they had won the league, the way they were celebrating in the middle of the pitch. And we were away from home, sort of incensing the home fans, and not that I'm condoning it. A few idiots have ran on, but the Fenerbahce players, rather than running off, have just seen this as an opportunity to, yeah, do you know what? Let's go. And chaos has happened on the pitch. And I mean, that's my moment. It's not a good one, and it's not stuff you want to see. Apart from a Batshuayi trying to reverse spin kick on a fan. And very nearly connected, which was quite funny. To me, we're both in the wrong. At no point should fans come onto a pitch. I can sort of accept when it's a last-minute goal and it's all in good spirits, but not to injure another player or anything like that. So we're both in the wrong. And then the Fenerbahce players also you can't really be throwing punches at fans. It's very.
I honestly, if you disagree, I disagree with that because I think it's self-defence. It was Trabzon's fault, I believe, who were the opposing supporters, who were coming in and physically trying to do in.
Yeah, as soon as you enter that pitch, meaning harming a player, I think you get what you're given, and I've no sympathy. So, but again, it's got to be my moment of the week because I couldn't stop watching it.
Max, what's your moment of the week?
Less exciting than Turkish football. I mean, yeah, that's a great fight. I think my moment of the week's a little bit closer to home. I was in the Iron Bar before the game on Saturday, and Michelle Harms was doing the rounds, having really good conversations with lots of fans, many of whom she'd never met before. Was giving very honest answers to any question, any discussion, treating fans like they were the grown-ups, better than quite a lot of politicians. And I just thought we're onto something here. This is good. People will always accept tough times and owners and boards of directors having to make tough decisions if they know that you're acting in good faith, and you're honest with them. Don't shine a turd and pretend it's gold. So there was definitely none of that going on in the Iron Bar. Massive respect to Michelle, even more so than the win. That felt long term. So definitely my moment of the week.
So it's an admirable suggestion, definitely. I'm going to give the points to Marco this week. I'm going to give him the win. He's not had one for a while. And although look, Max, it is you. Like, obviously, that's the moment of the week.
A moral victory is what you're saying.
A moral victory. Let's give it Marco.
How many points does that get you?
Not 4, which was how many fingers I can see you putting up there.
Yeah, so for those that missed that, Marco was given the rods there. Well, the double rods. So my moment of the week, if anybody is interested, was the Champions League draw, which you've just mentioned there, was actually... Do you know where this is going?
Go on.
Getting drawn Arsenal, which was just fantastic. I just can't believe of all the draws, that Harry Kane is going to be returning to North London in the Champions League. Really looking forward to that.
Have you seen that statue of him that's been hidden in that cupboard by Waltham Forest Council?
Terrible.
When he scores a 90th minute winner at the Emirates, there's going to be a Spurs fan breaking in and putting it up himself.
Absolutely. I mean, as sure everyone knows, I really do follow German football, and I mean, to be honest, the Bundesliga.
You never mention it. He never mentions it, does he, Marco? You'd never know.
The Bundesliga this season has actually been one of the most exciting for a long time, mainly because Bayern haven't won it, which is, to be honest, the only year I've wanted them to win it because Kane's been there. So, but no, I think it'd be be really good actually. And I think, I think Bayern have a genuine chance of winning the Champions League. I mean, they're obviously, they're in the quarterfinals, so they've got 1 in 8 chance. But I mean, City aside, obviously they'll be the favourites. I think they're one of the top teams remaining. So, Marco, you are our winner this week. Congratulations on our anniversary episode. Well done.
Oh, that's big.
So, yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, that's what Melissa told me. So, also we've got the FPL section. So, are you in a position to deliver the goods for us again?
That's what I've been told as well.
How is that a segue? That's awful.
I know.
Gone?
That's the first time I've ever been asked if I'm in a position to deliver the goods. So
we're getting good at this, aren't we? We're getting really good at
this. There's been no change at the top.
Like a fucking postman.
Been no change. It's Jack Chrysler, and I'd be amazed if he doesn't win this league. It's quite hard to judge this week because I think the top score in our league's maybe got 37 as a max. I mean, there's people with none. With actually no players playing because it's a really strange week. So it's hard to look too much into it. Yeah, but it's looking like Jack Chrysler is going to run away with it. So
Chrysler.
I was nearly my idiot of the week because it was the FA Cup quarterfinals, wasn't it? So there was only 4 games on. So I was looking through. Right, Spurs are playing. That's good. I'll load up on there. Couple of transfers. Got Son in. Made him triple captain. Trying to do something, bump up the points. They played shit and they lost 3-0.
Story of my life. Right then, guys. I think it's time for the big news, the big announcement.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Drum? Okay.
Give it to me.
Oh,
are you in a position to deliver these goods?
Marco, I'm going to deliver these goods directly to you. So, good news. Good news. It's a good news week. On the 19th of May, Sunday the 19th of May, the Iron Hour Podcast 11 will be returning for another football match. But this is a big one for us. So, we are playing at the Attis Arena.
Woo!
We are playing against a Yorkshire-based Everton supporters group. I'm sure that's going to upset all these Liverpool lot that have turned up to sport in recent weeks.
I think we'll get more fans. I think we'll
maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, that just means that they're cheering us on even more. They're going to be sat on the side with the thickest scouse accents, going, "Break his legs, chicken in a can of Coke."
And you will.
What on earth was that?
That was scouse.
Christ, that was not. I don't know what that was. That was a breakdown. That was a mental breakdown. Is what that was. So yeah, and the big one is we are raising money for Scunthorpe United. So we're doing this game. We've teamed up with the Wakefield Everton Supporters Club, and we are raising as much money as possible for Scunthorpe United. And we think this is going to help them paying off those, some of those bills. Whatever we can raise will be a good thing. So, couple of things you listeners can do. One, get yourself down on the day so you'll be able to come down, spectate the game. You'll be able to cheer us on or abuse us. We don't really care. We are hoping
abuse. Yeah, I want abuse. I live off the abuse.
Jesus, that's what I've heard. These councils are all the same. So get yourself down on Sunday the 19th of May. We're looking for a 1:30 kickoff, and we are hoping at this point to have some catering points open. We haven't got that promised yet, but it is our hope that we'll have some catering points open for the game. The other thing you guys can do is donate on the Just Giving page, which we have set up this evening, and we're going to have some posters made. We're going to put all the details onto our Twitter and social media pages today when this goes out. So once again, the money will be going to Scunthorpe United, and we want to say again, massive thank you to those at the Wakefield Everton Supporters Club who reached out to us and wanted to get this game on and raise funds for the club. And I have to say as well, the guy I've been speaking to, cracking bloke by the way, he's been telling me that he'd reached out to like a couple of Scunny supporters clubs and stuff to try and get this game underway, and then he'd seen that we'd done the charity football matches for Evie and for Sands, and he reached out to me direct. So it's nice actually that it seems that the football community, as we know, have been gathering around us to help us. So it's really cool, man. And yeah, can't wait for the game. So any thoughts from you guys ahead of that one?
Is Marco's going to manage again?
Yeah.
Thank you to.
Although I might put my shorts on for the last 5 minutes, Duncan Ferguson, and just show him what a proper striker.
Well, Duncan Ferguson, how apt?
Yeah. So, but no.
Are you gonna go the full Duncan Ferguson? Are you gonna kidnap people, burglar in your own house, who then have to run away and call the police?
But no, I am looking forward to it, and I'll sort of second what Barra said. The previous games we've done have been absolutely amazing, and the people that play, the people that have came down. I mean, the last charity game, I think we had over 70 people or so there. All this money going to Scunthorpe. If we can get people in for a great day, hopefully win the National League by that point. Spirits will be high. Ooh. Honestly, support these guys because what we're doing is amazing. I'll be in charge of them, so you know we're going to get a win. It's going to be brilliant. And fair play to, I don't know the gentleman's name, Barrett says, but Everton Supporters Group for reaching out to us. It's going to be a great day. Like I said, hopefully a bit of food and everyone for food catering for everyone as well. And bring a big bag of cans. Who cares? Let's go.
And his name's Gwyn. He's like I said, cracking bloke.
So two things before we move on. Firstly, Marco will be in charge alongside the great Becky, who I believe set up the GoFundMe page.
I couldn't do without Becky. She's like the gentleman off, what's the Newcastle assistant manager who just loves being on the camera?
Oh, Jason Tyndall.
Yeah, yes. She's like Jason Tyndall. She's the face. I'm just the brains. And hopefully this time Marco will have learned from the previous game when the night before, so the Saturday night, got pissed off and put at least two completely wrong sides in the WhatsApp group that we'd set up. So
let's tell the
Marco,
truth.
please don't do that.
We still
put 14 sheets out, and not one of them was fucking right.
Yes, but can we just come back to my record as the manager? It's
okay. Let's talk about your record as manager.
This is how Jimmy feels. This is how Jimmy feels. I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, so I'm just going to take you back to half time in that last charity game when we were looking at what we could do with formations, and you literally said, "Do you know, guys, I don't really know what to do." And Paul Grimes said, "I'll tell you what. Whilst you figure that out, how about you put me up top for 5 minutes?" And you went, "Yeah, okay, all right, right. You go up top. You go up top for 5 minutes, and I'll figure it out." He went up top, scored 2 goals.
All I'm hearing is, Grimesy, you go up top for 5 minutes, grab a couple of goals, which you did. Great man management. I know my players. That's the difference. Yeah. And
you are so full of shit.
Yeah, if you are coming to Gunford Park, Max has just made his way to the bench for that comment. So it's going to be fantastic. And I promise you entertainment. That is all I'm going to say. But yeah, like I said, fair play to the Everton guys. It's going to be a really good day. Hopefully, we can raise loads of money for win over club. Sort of on its ass, without being rude. We are in a bad way. So all the money we can raise is only a good thing. And to have a little bit of fun along the way and play on the hallowed turf, it'll be great.
And hopefully, the club have assured me that they'll help us with promoting this game and stuff. So hopefully we can get some people from the club involved as well. That'd be fantastic.
Annie Whitehall.
I was thinking more maybe Michelle there cheering us on.
What's she like at wing?
Are you saying you're gonna put Danny Whitehall up front for the Everton Supporters Club just so that me and Bryn have to be there in the back, seeing if we can get him sent off?
But no, yeah, it's a great thing. Really glad it's happening. So massive props to Barra because he's sort of got this over the line. So,
oh, you guys, what you like?
You my hero of the week.
Oh,
why didn't you say that 20 minutes ago then?
Because I didn't wait to get the points because I won.
Oh yeah, you'd have definitely won. Right, I think we'll wrap it up there, guys. So just to summarise one more time. Sunday, the 19th of May, Attis Arena, 1:30 kickoff. The Iron Hour podcast, Select 11, taking on a Yorkshire-based Everton supporters group, raising money for Scunthorpe United. Thank you once again for listening to us. Thank you for supporting us over the past 12 months. I've been Barra, been Max and Marco on the Iron Hour podcast. We'll be back next week, hopefully with the full ensemble, including Gareth. But until then, up the iron. Man, that was a fucking laugh, that, wasn't it?